Okay, I think we're back on. Computer went a little crazy. We're going to the Chumash of the day. Today's Wednesday. It's the fourth reading of the portion of Pinchas. We ended off yesterday with the reading with the story of the Bnei Slavchad. When they came and they asked God, they asked Moshe Rabbeinu, what will be the law of a person that has no daughters, has no sons, and they want to inherit the land. Who would inherit the land? So that's what we're holding. We're holding on chapter 27, verse number 6. So God responded to Moshe Rabbeinu to this question. And he told him, Kain b'nei Tzlachas Devris, the daughters of Tzlachas speak justly. They should be given a portion of the inheritance along with their father's brothers. And therefore you should give the inheritance of their father, you should give it to them. So now she says, the Targum Onkelos, Yois, rightly, as God said, this is the way the passage describes before me on high. It teaches us that the eye perceives what Moshe's eyes did not. Yes, the Targum translates that the Bnei Slavchad, in their desire to have a part of Eretz Yisrael, they saw even something that Moshe Rabbeinu did not see. Their claim is just. Fortunate is a person who's the word of the Holy One, blessed be, concurs. The Abish says, I agree with you. Nasin Titan, the double expression Nasin Titan, Ashi says, two portions. The portion of their father, who was amongst those that came out of Egypt, and the portion in which they shared with their brothers in the property of their fathers. As we mentioned yesterday's Rashi, that it goes back to their grandfather and to their father, to the Jews who went out of Egypt, and it goes to them themselves. The Avaita, Rashi says the word Avaita is an expression noting anger, avara, God's anger, when one does not leave his son to inherit him. Another interpretation, that's a mitzvah, because it's a mitzvah to have a boy and a girl. Another interpretation, the daughter transferred inheritance to the one tribe to another. When her son or her husband inherits from her, since the prohibition, you shall not transfer an inheritance, was dictated only to that generation. So the same reason applies to the wording of the command, you shall transfer the inheritance to his daughter. In the case of all of them, it says, you shall give him over. But in the case of a daughter, it says, you shall transfer. Because ultimately, it's going to be transferred. The daughter, the children are going to be of a different tribe. And ultimately, it's going to transfer to a different tribe. And that's why there's a different expression of Avata. B'nai Yisrael to Dabalem in verse number 8, and to the Jewish people shall speak. Ish kiyamus, if a man will die, uvein einlay, and he has no son, he should give his inheritance to his daughter. Vivein bas, if he has no daughter, then the first one of inheritance is his brothers. Vivein achim, if he have no brothers, then you give his inheritance to the brothers of his fathers, his uncles. If his uncle, he has no uncles, then you shall give it to the kinsman closest to him of his family. And this is going to be an interesting issue to Gemara. And they will inherit him. So it always goes, as Rashi says, to the father's family. Family is considered the father's family, not the mother's family, but the father's family. And especially as we're talking here surely when it comes to the land in Eretz Yisrael, when a person inherited land, it goes back to the father's family, because the father, your mother, your Judaism is established to your mother, but your tribe is established to your father. And therefore, the land needs to stay in the tribe and needs to go back to the father, to the tribe of the father, whichever tribe that was. So that completed the law of inheritance. Again, according to Torah law, there's no concept that you don't need a will. It automatically goes, the way the inheritance goes, it goes to the sons. There's no sons. If there's daughters, it goes to the daughters. There's no daughters and sons, it goes to the brothers. There's no brothers, it goes to the uncles, to the father, to his brothers, etc., etc. Anybody in the lineage of the father. Verse number 12. Now it's time for you to go up to Mount Ivarim. And I want you to see the land, which I'm giving to the Jewish people. Rashi says, why is this passage connected to the previous story? The Holy One, blessed be He, said, you shall certainly give. Moshe said, the God is commanding me to allocate the inheritance. So maybe, perhaps, the decree has been annulled. I have to give them the inheritance. So maybe I'm going to go into that snow. I will enter the land. So God right away tells him, relax. My decree remains as it is. So therefore, you're not going into the land. I'm just telling you the law, but you're not going to inherit to them, even though I said like that expression. Another interpretation, since Moshe had entered the territories of the descendants of God and the descendants of Reuben, right? Because he gave the other side of the Jordan, according to God's command, to give them part of the land. So now Moshe Rabbeinu said to himself, saying, it seems like the vow made in regard to me is I'm annulled. I'm really in Israel already. Because since we gave this land to the tribe of God, to the tribe of Reuben, so in essence, in many ways, I'm in Eretz Yisrael already. This can be compared to a queen to the son could not enter the portal of his palace. Even the king entered the gate with him. The son followed. The courtyard with him followed. The foyer with him and following. When he was about to enter the inner chamber, he said to him, my son, from here and on, you're forbidden to enter. So Moshe Rabbeinu felt he was like in the foyer already. It was like in the entrance of Israel. It was actually in Israel. So maybe God says, listen, I'm already in the foyer. So what does it bother you to come in the palace? So God says, no. Here is where it stops. You might be in the foyer. You might have gone to the courtyard. You might see the palace, but you're not going to come into the land. I'll only give you the capability of seeing the land of Israel. But in verse 13, you'll see it. You'll see it, but then you'll go back to your people. Yamata goes to you, as your brother Aaron passed away. So Rashi says, very interesting expression over here, like your brother Aaron. Well, here we see that Moshe yearned for the death like Aaron. Aaron died, which was called the kiss of God. He lay down on his bed and he passed away. So Moshe Rabbeinu was what he saw, because Moshe Rabbeinu took Aaron, as the Torah tells us 2 weeks ago, I believe, that Moshe Rabbeinu took Aaron and he laid him down on the bed and he passed away and he clothed Eliezer, etc. So when he saw the way Aaron died, he said, wow, this is the way I would like to also go, to lay down on a bed and just pass away peacefully. So the Abish said, okay, I'll give you that wish. Another interpretation, you are better than he, because because you did not sanctify. But if you would have sanctified me, the time to depart from the world would not have been arrived. On each occasion that the death is mentioned, the sin is mentioned. But the decree have been pronounced against the generation of the desert. They should die in the desert on account of their sins, and did not believe. Moshe Rabbeinu therefore requested that his sin be mentioned. So it should not be said that it was one of those who rebelled. He didn't want to say, I'm a sinner. I don't want to be mentioned, be part of the Jews that died, the 600,000 Jews that died in the desert because they didn't believe in Eretz Yisrael. I believed in going to Eretz Yisrael. This analysis of two women who were flogged by court, one for immoral behavior, adultery, and the other for eating unripe produce of the sabbatical year. Like this year, he ate produce of the sabbatical year. So they wanted to make sure that each one would know that what their sin was. The person who ate produce of the year didn't want to say that she did an immoral act. Year two, whenever the death is mentioned, the sin is mentioned to tell you that they did not sin other than this sin alone. And that's the next verse. Because you disobeyed my command in the desert of sin. The Mediva Seida, when the congregation quarreled, like the Sheni, you didn't sanctify me. The Mayim with the water lay name before their eyes. Hey, May Mediva, these are the bitter waters, the arguing waters, Kadesh, which were holy, Midbat Sin in the desert of Sin. So that says these waters alone, they, Moshe and Aaron, had no other sin to their name. And as the Gemara says, if you believe this is a sin, then you don't know what sin is. So therefore, even this, another interpretation, those waters which insignate the rebellion of the Israelite and Mara, the same of those that caused the rebellion at the Red Sea. And those are the same who evoked the rebellion in the desert of Sin. So all connected. Verse 15. So Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to God saying, this verse comes to tell us the virtues of the righteous. For when they're about to part the world, they disregard their own needs and occupy themselves with the needs of the community. Lamer, he said to him, answer me whether you are appointing a leader for them or not. That the Lord, the God, Spirit of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation. If I have to die, I don't want to leave the Jewish people alone. I want to make sure they have somebody who will fill my shoes, so to say. She says, Lifkin, let the Lord appoint. When Moshe heard that God told him to give Slach and inheritance to his daughters, he said to him, it's time to ask for my own needs, that my son should inherit my high position. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted his children to become leaders. But the Eibusha said, this is not my intention. For Yeshua deserves to be rewarded for, so Yeshua, your right-hand man, he deserves to be the next leader. For he did not depart from the tent. This is why Solomon meant when he said, he who guards the fig tree eats its fruits. So Yeshua is like the guarder of the fig tree. God of the spirits. Why is this said? What is the meaning of this expression? Master of the universe. The character of each person is revealed to you. There are no two people are alike. The leader of the Jewish people is going to have to handle many kinds of different personalities, many kinds of spirits. This is going to be a tough job. Anybody who's going to become the leader of the Jewish people, you have to have somebody who can handle so many different personalities. There ain't a diamond. Each guy, appoint them a leader who will tolerate each person according to the individual character. Being a leader of the Jewish nation, you got to find someone who can handle this nation. Verse 17, who will go out before them. Will come in before them. Who will lead them. Who will bring them. And let not the congregation of the Lord be like a sheep without a shepherd. Now she says, not like the kings of the Gentile nations who sit at home and send their armies to war, but as I did, For I fought against Sichon and Oig. You need to have a leader that's going to go in front of the army. As it says, do not fear him. And as Joshua did, as it said, Joshua went out with him and he said to him, are you for us or for our enemies? Similarly, we find by David HaMelech. He went forth and came before them. So you see that the kings of the Jewish people, they went out in front of the army. Ashiyatziim, which will lead them through his merits. Ashiyaviem, which will bring them through his merits. Other interpretation will bring them in means that you should not do to him as you did to me. You made me a leader. I took him out, but I didn't bring him in. I wanted to take him out of Mitzrayim, and I wanted to bring them into itself. So I hope the next leader you bring, the next leader will accomplish his job. We'll take him out and we'll bring him in. Verse 18. Vayem Hashem al Moshe, so God said to Moshe, Kach es Yeshua, take Yeshua. And Nun. Ish asher ruach bai, he's a son, he's a man that has of spirit. So machtes yotcha love, and you'll put your hand upon him. Rashi says, Kach lach means take him, take him. Encourage him verbally. Fortunate are you that you were married to lead the children of God. It's a hard job, but it's a great schus, it's a great merit that you have to be the Jewish leader. Rashi says, take for yourself someone verified by you, someone you know. Asher ruach, as you requested, somebody able to deal with the character of each person. Samachta es yadcha alav, and you shall lay your hand on him. Here you have the word, what we all know, rabbinic smicha, v'samachta. That's where the word smicha comes from, ordination. V'samachta. Provide him with an announcer so that he can expound halachic discourse during your lifetime. Give him smicha now. Don't make him a leader in the future. Make him right now a leader. So they did not just say about him. He didn't have the right to speak in the time of Moshe. So make sure that he speaks now. Make sure that he becomes a leader in front of you. Verse 19, standing before Elazar the Kohen, before the entire congregation. And command him before their eyes. Let this not be a secret. Let this be a public deal. Rashi says concerning Israel, be aware that they are troublesome. And after this, they tell him, this is not an easy job. Savranim, these are people that are troublesome and they abstain, they are rebellious. On the condition that you take upon yourself all this. Realize the job you're taking. But it's still, you should it's still a merit, even though it's a hard job, it's a merit. The you shall bestow some of your magic upon him, so that all the congregation of Israel will take heed. This refers to the radiance of the skin of his face. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu shone like the sun, and he gave some of that shine to Yeshua, and Yeshua was like the moon. Some of your majesties, not all of your majesties. Thus we learned that the face of Moshe was like the sun, where the face of Yeshua was like the moon. The Manishtu Kaldas Yisrael, that the congregation of Israel will take heed, and that they will behave towards him with reverence and awe, just as they behaved before you. Verse 21 of Elazar Kohen Yamed, and he'll stand before Elazar Kohen, Mishpat Urim V'Turim with Hashem, and he will also ask the Urim V'Tumim. He will ask the breastplate if he has any questions that he doesn't know. Al Piv Yeitzeu, by his word they shall go Valpiv Yavoyu, and on his mouth they shall come. Hu v'chol b'nei Yisrael itay, him and the entire Jewish people with him, v'chol ha'eda, and the entire congregation. Rashi says, here is a response to the request that you made that the children should inherit you. This honor shall not depart from your father's house, for even Yeshua will need Eliezer. So don't worry. You're going to have the tribe of Levi will still be leaders. So even though Yeshua was not for the tribe of Levi, and I'm giving him leadership, but ultimately he's going to still need Eliezer. He'll still need the Kohen. When he'll go out to war, any kind of situation, he'll always come to Eliezer to ask him the final okay. V'shaloi, he'll ask him, because he'll ask the Urim V'tumah, the breastplate that he had upon it. Tiyatzle, when he'll need to go out to war, Al Piv, on the mouth of Eliezer, they'll go out to war, and then also the Chol Ha'eda. So when a king goes out to war, we know he had to he had to get permission, so to say, from two entities, from the Kohen Gadol, who asked the Urim V'tumim, and from the Sanhedrin, the Chol Ha'eda. He had to get permission from the high court. Yes, Moshe did what God commanded. He took Yeshua. He stood before Eliezer HaKohen, in front of the entire congregation. So Rashi says he took him, encouraging him with words, and informing him the reward in store for leaders of Israel in the world to come. That's what ultimately every Jewish leader receives as his reward in the world to come. Verse 23. And he laid his hand upon it. And he commanded him. As God spoke to Moshe. The Holy One, blessed with thee, you shall lay upon him your hand. Moshe Rabbeinu, even though he knew that he's giving over his leadership, he was the leader of the Jewish nation for the last 40 years. And it was his life. And you would think he would even, David said, put your hand on Joshua. But he put both of his hands on him. But he didn't say put both. Moshe Rabbeinu put both hands. That shows the beauty of the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu and the way he gave ba'ayin yafa. He fashioned him like a full and overflowing vessel, filling it with wisdom and abundance. Moshe Rabbeinu gave Yeshua everything. He didn't hold back from him any aspect. Hashem, the respect of his majesty, bestowed his majesty, give over your glory to Yeshua, and he gave it over to him with full love. When we read this parsha, we know we're coming to the conclusion almost of Parsha Bamidbar, and getting closer to the portion in the book of Devarim. That completes the Chumash of today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We are in the middle of Ageres HaTshuva. The Alter Rebbe is going to introduce us to something that we have learned many, many times, but he's going to introduce us to the source of this, the Arizal, the teaching of the Arizal, the Esesphiris, the concept of the 10 manifestations of God. I'm going to show you a picture of the name of God, the tetragram. That's called the tetragram. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. This is the name of God. Al Rebbe is going to explain this name. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. This is the way it's written in the Torah. We don't say Yud, Hey. We don't say this. We say Adonai. So we don't say this name. This name was only said in the Beis Hamikdash by the Kohen Gadol and Yom Kippur, and that's it. Yud Hey Vav Hey is the four letters, which has many, many, many symbolic meanings in the 72 names of God. And the Alter Rebbe is going to go into the meaning, the basic meaning of the Arizal in this word, these letters, these four letters, the Yud Hey Vav Hey. Now it's important. You're going to soon see that you see how the Yud is written. This is the way the Yud is written in the Torah. It has this crown over here. You see these letters have a crown. Besides the middle crowns over here, we're not talking about that crown. They have this crown. It starts off with a point. That's the way the letter is written. That's like a crown to the letter Yud. I'm going to show you another picture. Hold on, another picture. Okay, so that I want you to. Where's my other picture I had? Okay, so that remember that letter. Okay, remember that word. I mean those four letters: Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, because that's what the Alter Rebbe is going to explain. Each and every one of these letters: the Yud, the Hey. You can see the Hey, the Yud, and the Hey. The Vav, the way the Vav is written, the way the last Hey is written. Now Yud equals 10. Hey equals 5, Vav equals 6, Hey is 5 again. So in the numerical value of this word, the basic numerical value is 26. That's also an important concept in Kabbalah, number 26. But we're not going into the number today. The Alter Rebbe is going to explain the way the word these four words are written: the Yud, the Hey, and the Vav, and the Hey. So let's go to the Tanya. What characteristics of the soul is also characterized in Havaya, in God's name, Havaya? You see how we say the word, we say Havaya. That's the way the word is said. Havaya. Oy. Havaya. That's the way the word is said. Havaya. The four letters of the name of God, and thus indicates that the soul is indeed a part of that name. We mentioned that in the beginning of this chapter. Hichelik Hashem, Hichelik Yudkei Vavkei Amri. The name of God is his nation. And the answer to the question, the Alter Rebbe now explains that just like the 10 spheres are included within the tetragram in this name, so too then are the 10 corresponding faculties that are intrinsic to the soul. So the Eibishter, God created the world, Asara Mamoris, which is also symbolic to the 10 Sfirot, the Zohar says, which is also the make of a man. The world, everything in the world is created through these 10 manifestations. Also the soul of man is created, had within it these 10 manifestations. So let's hear the words, as this is a statement we say every Friday before Mincha, called Pasach Eliyahu. It's a chapter of the Zohar, which is a statement of Elijah the prophet. And this is the expression of Elijah the prophet. You can read it. We should read it. You should read it every Friday. Pasach Eliyahu. Antu de afkis eser tikunin. This is in Zohar. You have a listed 10 tikkunim, which means garments, and which are called Eser Sifrin, 10 Sfirot. Sfirot are the many words to the word Sfira. Sfira, we know Sfira to Omer, counting of the Omer. But Sfirat is also sapir, comes from the word to shine. 10 manifestations, 10 concepts that shine. L'nahagu buhu almin stimoy, by which to conduct the concealed worlds, etc., and the revealed worlds. Everything comes out of these 10 manifestations. But again, Ant Chacham, this is the Zohar. Listen to the words of the Zohar. You are wise. Chachma is the first smira, is the first manifestation. So Chachma, but you have to realize again, Antu Chacham, you are wise. V'loi b'chachma yediyah, but not like we understand wisdom. Wisdom of God is above our wisdom. But still, we call the Sfira Chachma. And Maven, you understand, which is the second Sfira, Bina. V'loi b'bina yediyah, but not like the Bina, the knowledge, not like with the knowable attribute of understanding and so on. And so too with regard to the main spheres. You are kindness, but not like the kindness that we know. It's thus an expression. So we express, again, we're going back to what the Alter Rebbe said yesterday. The Gemara, Talmud says, the Torah talks in the way of man. But at the same time, we realize when we call God Chachma, it's not the Chachma the wisdom that we understand wisdom. It's a wisdom that's far beyond our wisdom. It's an understanding that's far beyond our understanding. It's a kindness that's far beyond our kindness. It's Gevura that's far beyond our Gevura, etc. But ultimately, we express because we want to understand God to the best of our abilities. And the Torah talks in the way of man. And therefore, the Zohar expressed itself that the Esther spheres are Chachma, Bina, Das, Chesed, right? Three intellectual comprehensions: Chachma, Bina, Das, wisdom, understanding, knowledge. Then you have the 6 midos, the 6 emotions: Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, kindness, severity, beauty, Netzach, victory, Hod, glory, Yesod, foundation. Those are the 6 Sefirot, which are the 6 days of the week. And then you have Midas HaMalchus, Sfiras HaMalchus, the Sfira of Malchus. Chol HaYud Sfiras, and these 10 Sfiras, the Chlolais v'Nizmrozais b'Shem Havaya. These 10 Sfiras are all going to be expressed in these 4 letters. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. In the Tetragram, in God's name, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Alter Rebbe now shows that the various spheres find an expression of 4 letters that comprise this name. Yud, the first letter, remember the first letter, the letter Yud. The letter Yud comprises all. It's 10. The letter Yud has a number 10. It has automatically everything within it because it's Chachma. The letter Yud is wisdom. Now remember, I'm just going to say what the Alter Rebbe is saying. The letter Yud is wisdom, and it has that dot on top of it. And the Alter Rebbe is going to say that shows on the crown of with the will. Okay? Let's go back to the Tanya. The Yud, which is a simple point, extends in neither length or breadth. The Yud is like a dot. Indicates wisdom. The wisdom, God's wisdom, the Sfira of Chachma. She bechinas hela v'hester, which is a state of concealment. It's hidden. Chachma, as we learned in the beginning of Tanya, is Chachma means what is it? Still something that always needs to be found. And obscurity before it develops in a state of expansion and revelation in the comprehension and understanding. It needs to come down into Bina. Now the Alter Rebbe puts this in paragraphs. The thorn above the Yud, remember the thorn above the Yud? Not the crown, the thorn, that little point above the Yud. Remember the Bechinas Ratzin. That indicates will, supernal will. Baruch l'mayla mayla madregas chachmila, which is higher than wisdom. God's will. So in the letter Yud, you have two things. This part of the letter is wisdom, and that over there, that little kais, is symbolic to Ratzin, to the will of the Eibishter. So if you look in the Esesphiris of the Alter Rebbe, you have the first three are Chochmah, Bina, Das, Chabad, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, and above it is Ratzin, will. Go back. Now, next letter is the letter Hey. The letter Hey, Yud, Hey. The letter Hey shows an expansion. That's the Hey after the Yud, right? We have the concept of expansion. This is an expansion, a letter that goes in the width and in the height. It's totally a whole big letter. Also, this shows the concept of Bina, of understanding. When the seminal point, Chachma, the Yud, is eventually amplified and revealed as something comprehensible to the concealed world, even to the upper world, because the first hay is the upper world. The first is two hays. So the first hay is still Bina. It's still in the upper worlds. It's concealed worlds. When it descends to the level of Sfidas of Bina. This is contained and represents the letter Hey. Because the letter Hey has an extension in its breadth, implying the breadth, an explanation of an understanding of this wisdom, which is the function of Bina. The letter Hey also extends to the length. So it's to the breadth and to the length. It shows in the way the wisdom comes down, not only in its breadth, but also in its length. It's wide and deep. It comes down. It has the capability of coming down, even though it's still in the upper worlds, the hidden worlds, but it's still a concept of something that can come down into a revealed way in the hidden worlds. So the hidden worlds are nourished from the level of Bina, so they may have an understanding of godliness. Now we come to the next letter, the letter Vav. The letter Vav, right? The letter Vav, the third letter. Now we come down. Vav is like a Yud on top with a line going down. That now we come down. Also, the letter Vav has the numerical value of 6. Now we come down into Midot. Now we take Bina, Chachma Bina, Yud and Hey is Chachma Bina of the hidden worlds that come down into the 6 emotions. Now they're traveling down to the revealed worlds. Okay? The next stage is when the extension of flow are drawn still lower into revealed worlds. For analogy, if a person wishes to reveal his thoughts to another through speech, now the person, in his mind, it's hidden. It's yet hidden. I want to now express it. It's all in the way that I'm going to express it. It's all in the way that I'm going to express it. The person will understand more, not only through my expression, but the way I express it through love. I contract it, I package it well that the person that hears it can understand it. Because if I'm going to express it the way it's in my wisdom, it's still to be hidden. I'll talk in tongues or something. I'll talk in the concept of something that's hidden. No, I have to bring it I have to contract it. I have to express it lovingly. I have to care about the person that I'm expressing it to. And that is the second two letters. That's where the second two letters are. Vav. Because I have Vav, Meid al Hamshacha, the letter Vav, which is shaped like a vertical line, indicates downward extension. There's another the connection between this stage and the letter Vav. The Gam Hamshacha Zu, I said this story right now, but listen to the words of the Alter Rebbe. He Almidas Chazdoi. The Eibishter created the world through Chesed. He didn't just create the world because he wanted to express himself. The Eibishter created the world through his kindness. That's the first of the 6 midas, Chesed, and the foundation of all the midas is Chesed. The Eibishter wanted to show kindness to the world, and that's why you need the other 5, which is Gevura, to make sure that the Chesed is capable of, the kindness is capable of being received. The other 5 midas, 6 midas altogether. These are the 6 midas. Chesed starts from Chesed, kindness. Gevura. Gevura is contraction. We make sure the Chesed is capable to be received. Teferes, beauty. That's when you have Chesed and Gevura together. You have beauty, and then you have victory, and then you have glory, and then you have the straight foundation. And that's the 6 midas, and that's the Vav. The Vav is 6. So the Vav is the concept of coming down, and it's expressed in the 6 midas, the way it comes down. So again, in the analogy of a human being, it all depends the way I express myself. And that's expressed through my love, how much love I have. I can say I want to express. I don't care what you hear the truth. No, it's the way I say the truth. It's the way I express myself through my to reveal it. What is hidden in my mind, and that's the Vav midas. That's the 6 emotions. And this is based on the verse, L'cha Hashem Agdula V'Gevura V'Tiferet V'Neitzach V'Hod. You find this verse in the Torah, which the Torah expressed itself, that the Eibishter expressed itself through Gedula V'Gevura, through Gedula is the concept of kindness, V'Gevura, the concept is severity, V'Tiferet, and the beauty, V'Neitzach V'Hod, Kichol V'Shamayim V'Aretz. And then we end off, L'cha Hashem HaMamlacha. And you, God, have kingship. And that's the letter Hey, the final letter Hey, is kingship. And what is kingship in this analogy? Speech. That's ultimately, in the analogy of a human being, I have my chachma, my wisdom, I have my bina, which is my yud and hey, and then I have my midas. And ultimately, how am I going to say it? How will I say it? And that's my malchus. That's my malchus, my speech. How will I say it? And that's why speech is a total different reality. Even though ultimately it comes from my intellect and my understanding and my emotion, but it's a whole different reality because speech is to another. Speech is ultimately the way I'm going to affect another person. That's why it says, Devarim hayotzim min halev. Words that come from the heart reach the heart. I can speak a lot, but it won't be from my heart. It won't be through my shish midas. It won't be through my emotion. It'll come straight to my intellect, cutting out my emotions, and it won't affect another person's heart. I might be saying the truth. I might be saying great intellectual concepts, but it's basically not penetrating somebody else. Why? Because the malchus didn't come through the sheish midas. To be able to have a complete package, it needs to be the whole Yud Kei Vav Kei. It needs to be chachma, wisdom. It needs to be understood in my wisdom, even in a hidden way. It needs to come through my true emotions. And now it comes through with speech. And when you have that whole package, your speech, your whole thing is going to be in a perfect way. The Eibush does everything perfectly. But us, the question is our own journey. So in this verse, it says, Ad lecha Hashem HaMelucha, until you are your sovereignty, but not included in it, because Malchus is separate. He midas Malchus b'negashem dvar Hashem, because the attribute of sovereignty is called the word of God. And speech is not one of the midas. The spiritual emotive attributes, speech is not. Speech is separate. So that's why, again, let's go back to that picture quickly. So again, the Alter Rebbe just explained, Yud, the first letter is wisdom. And the dot on top, this dot over here is Ratzeh, the will. And it comes down into Bina, to the letter Hey, which is the understanding, which these two things are really, you divide Yud K, Vav K, you're dividing this name, this word, this letter, not letter, this word, these four letters into two different categories. Actually, three. Yud Hey is almost the mind, is the hidden world still. The Yud K is Chachma and Bina of the hidden world. Then it comes down to the Vav, the six emotions. It's coming down into the revealed world. When is it revealed? In the last letter Hey, which is Malchus speech. Yud K Vav Shem Havaya. Meshakasu b'dvar melech shilton, as it says, with the word of the king holds sway. Supernal speech then is related to Malchus, God's sovereignty. This attribute of sovereignty is contained and represented in the final Hey of the tetragram, the name Havaya, in the following manner. So the Alter Rebbe is going to go deeper into the letter Hey. Remember, we explained that every letters, there are 5 ways of the mouth, which the mouth expresses every letter. And it's hidden in the letters Menatzbach. Remember, we mentioned that the 5 expressions of the mouth. What is the letter Hey? The letter Hey, Hevel. The letter Hey, Hey is your breath. Hey, that's where the letter Hey comes from. The letter Hey actually represents the breath that actually comes through all the other 5 the other 5 oral articulations of the mouth. So the inner aspect of the source of speech is the breath that arises from the heart, that is particularized in the 5 oral articulation, 5 being the miracle into letter Hey. Letter Hey is 5. One of these produced the brackets of the letter Aleph, Ches, Hey, Ayin. Aleph, Ches, Hey, Ayin. Chet. That's Aleph. So the letter Aleph, Chet, Hey, Ayin, which we mentioned before, they interchange these letters because they come from the throat. They come from the throat. They're just the hevel that the throat throws out. So these are another produced the brackets of the letter Bet, Vav, Mem, Pei from the lips, right? So we have Mem, Pei, Vav. That comes from the lips. And we learned this before. And the certain things that come from the palate, etc. At any rate, eternal speech is breath. That's what the Alter Rebbe wants to bring out. Eternal speech, there is Hey, the letter Hey. And that's why the letter Hey is the last letter of Yud Kei Vav Hey, because that's Malchus. Malchus is speech, which is all symbolic in the letter Hey. Because in the 5 altercations of the mouth, the 5 powers of the mouth, the palate, which bring out the Hevel, the most one that is connected to the Hevel, to the breath, is the letter Hey, like the letter Aleph, but the letter Hey. And it's 5. Particularly in the new initiation of the letter Hey is solely vocalized the breath. Hey. And that's why it's a light letter without substance. And many guys, it does solely from the breath. It alludes to the level of malchus and speech, whose internal aspect is breath. Now again, we just expressed something very powerful, and we expressed that the Eibishter created the world through speech. Again, the Alter Rebbe keeps on saying this, and it's very important, never to give the Eibishter any kind of physical attributes. Now he's no corporal form, God forbid. This is all an analogy. As the Alter Rebbe says again, you have to remember that. The Eibishter is infinite. You cannot put him into letters, forms, words, etc. But the Eibishter talks in the word in the language of a human being, and it's an analogy. How they can differentiate between the letters that possess substance and those that do not. So you really can't say, oh, there's God the letter Hey, there's God the letter Beis, there's God the letter Dalet. But that's the way the Torah talks. Since the mortal plane, the difference that does exist between the letter Hey and the letter Pei, it also applies to the divine plane. For spirituality too, there exists a corresponding difference between the letter Hey and the other letters. And that's the way that Arizal the Zohar explains Yud Kei Vav Kei. And ultimately how God created the world, Masora my mothers, through 10 utterances. Shigam, moreover, there's yet another reason why this analogy, notwithstanding the fact that God has no corporal form, God forbid. God's speech as well consists of Chav Beis Oisis. The Torah is written, which is God's words, God's speech, in 22 letters. 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Which to be able to read the word of God, you need to have your breath, and you need to have the 5 ways your mouth articulates that breath. And the Torah says that from these words were created every creation in the world. So that's the fact. How does it work out? Go figure it out. But that's the fact. Even though the Eibishter is above words and above letters, but the Eibishter says, God says in the Torah, I created the world through the words of the Torah. As discussed, these letters in the significance of the Kuti Amorim, chapter 2 and chapter 11, I said, explain these letters. We thus see 10 spheres are included and represented within the tetragram. Now, the Rebbe now goes on to explain that likewise within the soul, which is part of the tetragram, part of God's name, there exists 10 corresponding levels and faculties. So just like the whole world was created with God's name, so too every soul has within it this concept. Analogy exactly the same applies to the soul of man. And keeping in mind, never forget this, an infinitude of separation. We're not comparing ourselves to God. We're not God. No human being is God. And therefore, keep this in mind. Infinite separation between the creator and the created soul. So even when we talk about the soul, still a created soul. It's not God. We are not God. We have within us a part of God, but we're not compared. We're not becoming God, and nobody should think that he can ever become a God. Which we're talking about the divine soul, which God blew from. God, the Alter Rebbe is making a loop back to his beginning, that our nefesh elokis, our godly soul, is a chelik elokam imal mamish, is a part of God, because God, so to say, blew within us this soul. And the Zohar says he blew from his essence. So since the soul derives from the internal aspect of godliness, the tetragram, right? From the tetragram, Yud Kei Vav Kei, which comprises of the 10 spheres, the soul likewise comprises of the following categories. Every one of our souls has the letter Yud, which is the hidden concept. We have our souls connected to something that's far, far above anything. It's in the letter Yud. We have Chochma Stimoy. We have within our soul a hidden wisdom that has the capability to come into a revealed state, but has to go through understanding. Possessive of being revealed, thereby understanding and conceiving God's true existence and greatness. Each person, the fum shura delay, each person according to his capability. It's all every person in relative to his wisdom and understanding. While the degree of one's comprehension of God depends on the breadth of one's intellect, a Jew's essential ability to find God's true being and greatness securely integrated in his mind stems from the soul's attribute of Chachma. We have the capability to go beyond our intellect because we have a godly soul that is a chelik, that's part of God, that's connected to God's name, and therefore our neshama has a chachma that's above and beyond the chachma of a normal human being. And therefore we need to go higher. That's why God demands in us to go above higher, go supernatural, understand the supernatural, understand the greater. Don't understand the nature, which everybody can understand. That's what it says. The Gemara says, Yesh chachma b'goyim. Is there wisdom in the nations of the world? 100%. Yesh Torah b'goyim. Is there the Torah, the knowledge of the Torah? No. Because the Eibishter gave us a godly soul. And that godly soul gives us the capability to have a comprehension of the Torah. Which not only a comprehension in the world, but a comprehension that surpasses the world. A wisdom that goes beyond the world. And that's the avodah of a yid. To go beyond the world. To learn Torah and connect to a wisdom that is far beyond the wisdom that of worldly matters. Which is a great wisdom too. But it's not the wisdom of the Torah. The wisdom of the Torah is far beyond, is the purpose of the world, is the DNA of the world, is the godliness of the world. And that every one of us, since we are all connected to Shem Havaya, we're all connected to the Yud Kei Vav Kei, to the wisdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have the capability to go, to accomplish that wisdom. So a man deepens his intelligence. You can learn more and deeper your intelligence. Become more godly. Think more. Go deeper. As he broadens his mind, broaden your mind and comprehension to contemplate God's greatness. We have that capability. I don't know if we have that responsibility. We have that responsibility to broaden our minds, to go deeper, become godlier. Kedoshim Tiyu should be holy. Then your bina, then his now developed understanding, the faculty of bina is alluded to the letter Hey. I can have a very small, my bina could be like my wisdom. My bina, just like my wisdom is a dot, my bina is a dot. But if I take my wisdom and I expound upon it, I make it bigger, I make it better. I've taken my wisdom, expounded, I stretched it, that's the letter Hey. It has breath. It has the concept of length. I have the capability of taking this concept and stretching it out to the width and bringing it down to the length. What am I trying to accomplish? The letter Vav. I'm trying to concentrate the next letter to bring my wisdom and my understanding to my emotions. To bring forth, to bring birth, to give birth. To love God and to fear God and all the children of love and fear and beauty, etc., etc. Live in his mind, the recesses of his heart. At an early stage, in a generation of spiritual emotion, of love and fear and so on, they are not yet manifest. Ultimately, they'll find an overt expression in his heart. The downward progression of intellect into the realm of emotions is thus indicated by the vertical length of the last letter, Hey. That's the last letter, Hey, is Malchus, which I don't only have an emotion to God, but I ultimately bring it into reality, speech, my speech, action. I sit and learn Torah of mitzvahs, and I do commandments, bekoil with a dibur, with speech, and with a loud voice, a meiser action. Ve'hein vav hey, and that's your last two letters of the vav hey of my neshama, the way my neshama expresses itself in my emotions, and the way my neshama, which is comprised of yud kei vav kei, expresses itself in my action. Furthermore, contemplating the endeavors to understand, to conceive of God's true being, also derived from the Torah of Kemanat Torah. Such contemplation must necessarily be preceded by studying of Torah. Because we don't want to have our wisdom based on my wisdom. I'm going to try to understand godliness through my nature or through the nature of the world. I want to understand godliness through Torah because the Torah is the wisdom of God. Because the Torah proceeds from Chachma, which we explained is the Yud of the name of God. So my wisdom wants to connect to God's wisdom. And then not only will I see the wisdom of God through the Torah, I'll see the wisdom of God through the world too. But I am gonna connect as a Yid. I'm gonna go higher than myself. I'm gonna go higher than the world. I'm gonna go higher than the wisdom of the world. I'm gonna go straight to the Torah. And over there, I'm gonna connect my wisdom to the wisdom of God, which is gonna reveal the wisdom of God in my wisdom. And through my wisdom of my understanding, and through my understanding, my emotions, and through emotions, my actions. And that's the Shem Havaya. That's the name of God, the way it's expressed in my neshama, in my soul. What a beautiful Tanya today. As I say many times, it's something that you can learn again and again. You should learn it again and again. This today's Tanya, and get it down in your mind and your understanding, the best of your capability. Today is the 21st day of the month, which is chapter 104 and chapter 105. If you do those two chapters, 104 and 105, you would have accomplished Chitas. Wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. I'll see you, Mitchell, tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Continue the Chitas of the day. Have a wonderful day.